doesn't get you fired up, I don't know what will, Ross Peterson. Did you?
I just joined you. What are we getting fired up about?
Oh, so when the countdown plays, you don't hear the music in there?
Normally I do. That time I didn't.
So I had the Iowa fight song playing in that. So I did a brand new countdown. I put the Iowa fight song in there. It's Floyd of Rosedale Day. It's Minnesota. It is here we go. It is here we go.
Heard it. I hope, because normally I hear that boom 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 boom.
No, it was there. I was playing it. I swear it was there.
I believe you, and yes, it did fire me up. How about that?
All right, it's been a crazy. What should have you everybody fired up is not the Floyd of Rosedale game. Of course, that automatically does it. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a crazy day in college football already. I mean, an absolute crazy day. You had Wisconsin score a touchdown with 35 seconds to go to beat Nebraska 15-14. You had TCU kick a field goal with no time left to beat Baylor by 1 point. You had Michigan kick a field goal late in the game to beat Illinois by a score of 19-17. Crazy day in college football, and I got a feeling, Ross Peterson, it's only going to continue into tonight.
We got a good chance for some wild games here this afternoon, obviously, with our Hawkeyes, and then even into the evening with a lot of teams. This is what happens, Travis, when you get teams playing with their back against the wall. When you get teams that realize the thing that they're playing for is at risk. For Illinois today, we should have seen this coming. Vegas had that game at like 9-point game, something like that, wasn't it, Tony? 6-9, but Illinois and Michigan.
Yes.
Something like. I mean, it wasn't a 2-point game. I know that, and we should have seen that and said, man, Illinois has got some dogs, and they're going to go out there and fight. And that's what happens here late in the year like this. Now, same thing we could apply to the Hawkeye game, right?
Yep.
What's at stake here for this Iowa-Minnesota game? Well, a Big Ten West title, potentially.
You're exactly right, and for both teams right here. I mean, this is what's going. And right now, the spread is Minnesota -3, so that's basically a home field. And then the over/under at 32.5, which is an absolute ridiculous number because that's very low scoring. Crazy thing in this series, Ross Peterson, Minnesota has not won since 2014, and PJ Fleck has never beaten Kirk Ferentz as a college head coach.
Listen, we talked about these things on our Morning Rush show on our sister station, KXNO. Chris Hassel had pointed this out on his Twitter account. This is not the year for those traditions. Iowa State, that's a team that Matt Campbell never beaten Kirk Ferentz. Got that one off his back this year. The ones that we've dominated. Hawkeyes lost. The beat Purdue, lose to Illinois. All of those traditional things are going the other way. Beat Wisconsin. So I don't know what to make of that. I don't think it means anything. Because today's going to be a rough game, and I still don't know how I feel about this. I mean, if you're going to ask for a prediction, I'm going to be making it up on the fly.
And it's on here. You can see it on the bottom of the screen if you read the scroll, but I'm going to bring it up. And this was an astonishing number. Minnesota lead, and watch third down. Minnesota, the offense leads the nation in third down conversion. The defense is number 2 in the nation in keeping and stopping third down conversions.
So watch third downs on both sides of the ball.
So on both sides of the ball, you really got to watch that.
That's something I don't like because, this Hawkeye defense is kind of built on that bend but don't break thing, right? Which doesn't necessarily mean lockdown on third down defense. And this Hawkeye offense is certainly not predicated on third down conversions.
No.
I didn't like that stat.
So I threw it out there for you.
Take that stat away. I don't like that stat.
Now, Sam seems to be a little bit more optimistic. Says Michigan limps to victory with 3 fourth quarter field goals. It's lining up for the Hawks. Listen. I know what he's saying there. Just back up and punt a little bit. Get through this game. If the old sports cliche has ever been so true right now, one game at a time. You really can't start saying, well, Michigan limps to a win against Illinois. First of all, Iowa didn't beat Illinois. Maybe should have, but didn't beat Illinois. And Ross, you brought it up. Illinois knew it had to lay all the chips on the table. No other opportunity but lay the chips on the table and let them fall because if Iowa loses, Illinois is back in this thing when it comes to. But there's so many other tiebreakers and stuff that take place. Absolutely crazy. Another crazy game in overtime. Indiana wins at Michigan State 39-31.
Man.
I mean, just a bizarre and crazy day in college football.
all around. Travis,
Yeah.
I think you mentioned a few of the others, right? You mentioned that
I mentioned
TCU.
TCU.
Yeah. TCU Baylor.
Yeah.
I'm going through the scoreboard right now. Alabama got their bye against Austin Peay today, 34-0.
What is it about the Floyd of Rosedale game that you like? Is it still 2002 when they carried the goalpost out of the Metrodome? What is it about this? The trophy game's been since 1935.
Travis, I bag on the trophy games a lot because I think that they're stupid. This one's really cool. These are the trophy games that are cool. Like, they've got a real story.
Like
real
the old Oaken Bucket, Paul Bunyan's act. When you have 4 trophy games, that's a bit much. But there's always that one that's super cool, and this is the cool one for the Hawks.
Dude, I heard today that the Nebraska-Wisconsin game is called the Freedom Game.
I had no idea that even existed. No idea.
Tony's a Nebraska fan. He's even giving me the look like, "What? Are you sure?" I saw that on. Maybe I misunderstood something. I was at home watching a halftime show. But I swore that was what they said. Nebraska and Iowa's, whatever that one is called, the
Heroes game. The Heroes game. Yeah. We call it the corporate sponsored
corporate sponsor game. Those are stupid.
Amen. This one's cool.
The ones that have real stories and sometimes funny stories. It doesn't have to be a story of like, well, the governors bet pigs. No, there can be fun stories like the broken chair and things like that, right? Yeah. When it's just some corporate sponsored thing, I don't like it at all. So you asked me about my favorite memories. Absolutely. When the Hawkeye fans carried the goalposts out of the Metrodome or tried to, that's a classic moment. Like that, the goalpost going up the stairs of the Metrodome, that's an all-timer, Hawk fans. I've always said it. Way to go. If you're ever a part of that, way to go.
So last week, Iowa needed its defense to score. It needed the special teams to set up the offense with really good field position. Do you think the Iowa defense scores today? And do you think the special teams comes up big? Because I don't think Iowa can beat Minnesota unless both of those things happen.
Travis, maybe that's exactly why I'm so hesitant about a prediction, because you nailed it with your premises before the question. Hawkeyes do have to, if they're going to win, they have to have their defense and special teams do those amazing things for them. They have to have the ball. They have to win the field position battle. Got to win time of possession probably so that you're wearing the other team down and they're not wearing you down. Do you have to have a pick six or a special teams touchdown? Man, I hesitate to say no. It's hard for me to say, no, you don't need that, because you've absolutely needed that over the last several weeks. All year long, you've needed the defense to be special. Not good, not great, special. So can that happen again? Maybe that's why I'm hesitant about being confident, because I know that we are absolutely catching lightning in a bottle with that defense every week.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you on that. The difference here is you've got a really good defense in Minnesota. Minnesota's schedule's been kind of weak, and so I don't know how good Minnesota is with a 7-3 record. Their schedule is weak, but again, that's not their fault. It is the Big Ten's fault, right? Because we've been in this position with Iowa before, and that is, you can't criticize schedule because you just play the games you play. Now, it'll all work out when it comes down, but I'm never going to rip anybody in its schedule, because Lord knows in 2015, Iowa had to deal with that.
You have to play who you have to play.
Yes. And you got to win the games, right? So here's what's going to happen. The kickoff's going to come up right after we get off the air, just after 3 o'clock. The game is televised on Fox, so you guys going to watch it in HD today. Finally, you guys going to watch a game in high definition. There's Tony back there. If you guys don't know Tony, he's the producer of the Jethro's Barbecue Soundoff.
That's Tony.
That's Tony.
There's our TV.
Yeah, that wonderful TV. It's a wonderful TV. And then the Eddie and Gary Dolphin will have the call on News Radio 1040 WHO. Then after the game, you can listen to the Jethro's Barbecue Soundoff. First schedule will be on from 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock tonight. Again, that's 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock tonight. And we'll be taking your calls at 284-1040, and you can listen live on the iHeartRadio app and at whoradio.com. Ross and I will be, oh man, I can't do that, and I know that's a wussy way out of it. it's just you cannot guarantee defensive touchdowns, turnovers, and special teams plays. Those are something you just cannot guarantee. We know what we're going to get out of this offense, right?
Yeah.
We know what we know, and we know the defense is going to clamp down and stop Minnesota's offense. But is this just a game of punt back and forth, and this is punt, pass, and kick, right? And the field game and the field position game wins.
When you say we know what we're going to get from the Sockeye offense, futility.
Yeah, that's what you're going to get.
Anything the offense does is cherry on top. It's how weird is this? How weird.
Yeah.
Boy, defense and special teams better show up because we know the offense isn't going to.
Hey, that's where we're at. But I was still in the hunt for the Big Ten West Division title, and a lot of it huge game taking place in just about 6 minutes or 3 minutes, and a game you can listen to on News Radio 1040 WHO. So Ross and I will be back at halftime, give you our thoughts there. Of course, we'll be back after the game. Follow along on social media, especially on Twitter at WHO Radio Soundoff, or is it WHO Soundoff? Something like that. What is it? It is... I don't even know what it is. It just search WHO Soundoff.
You'll find it.
You'll
find us.
You'll find it eventually. It is WHO Soundoff. That's what it is. That's what it is. So for Tony back there in the corner,
wave Tony. Hello.
For Ross Peterson, I'm Travis Justice. We will see you at halftime, and go Hawks.
Bye, buddy.